Hey everyone, Agonol here once again with a new episode of Xfinity's The Feed. On today's episode, we've got updates on what's going on with the Philly Fusion and the Overwatch League, as well as recent gaming news, so you're kept up to date. Now let's jump straight into the headlines. On Sunday, the Fusion matched up against the Seoul Dynasty in the first round of the knockout matches of the Countdown Cup. In this do-or-die matchup, the Fusion needed to put together a win in order to advance within the tournament. Plus, with the recent loss to the Dynasty last week, this game was a perfect opportunity to get some payback against Seoul. However, the odds were not in our favor on this day. The Dynasty came out swinging, determined to keep up their own momentum for the last matchup, and won the first match of the game 1-0. The Fusion did come back to tie up the game 1-1, but after all that, it was all Seoul all the time. The Dynasty ended the Fusion's Countdown Cup hopes with a 3-1 matchup win. Now, due to the loss, the Fusion are not going to play again until the weekend of September 4th, as the rest of the Countdown Cup plays out and the league takes a break during Week 20. In the meantime, the team will be working tirelessly to prepare for the Overwatch League plans for the playoffs. Speaking of Overwatch League action, let's go over the full schedule of matchups for this weekend's Countdown Cup tournament. On Thursday, August 19th, we've got the Seoul Dynasty versus the Atlanta Reign, and then the LA Gladiators will go up against the Chengdu Hunters. Now, depending on who wins, that'll determine the rest of the placements for Friday's and Saturday's matches. Whoever can stay in winners will take on the final survivor of the losers bracket for the championship game on Sunday. I wonder which team will win. You can catch all of the games this weekend on Overwatch League's YouTube channel. We're bringing you the Fusion content you need all season long here on the feed, and we couldn't do it without being powered by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Philadelphia Fusion. Power your game with Xfinity Gig Speed Wi-Fi. Now, let's go through some recent gaming news. Marvel's Avengers is poised to introduce players around the world to the game's most high-profile superhero yet, Black Panther. That's right, gamers will be traveling to the hidden, technologically super advanced, and jaw-droppingly beautiful land of Wakanda in order to step into the shoes of T'Challa and his super-powered alter ego. And while the other Avengers will be on hand to assist in Black Panther's battle against the invading forces of Klaw, after that self-contained story is all said and done, T'Challa will be free to roam around the wider world of Marvel's Avengers in order to participate in the grind. A new teaser for the next Call of Duty game has arrived, and it points to the Western Front. A video sent to YouTuber Mr. Dalek JD contains some clues that people believe point to the June 1944 Battle of Merville gun battery specifically. The story takes place in the European and Pacific theaters of World War II, according to a report, which went on to say its narrative will dive into the origin of the Allied Special Forces. It's widely believed that Activision will formally announce Call of Duty Vanguard on August 19th. Leaks have also suggested there will be an open beta and multiple editions of the game. In addition to Vanguard, Activision is said to be planning a major update to Warzone with a brand new map set in the Pacific Theater. A VGC report said that Warzone's new map will be bigger and more substantial than the overhaul that came to Verdansk's map when it went back in time to the 80s. Is your current water heater giving you the cold shoulder? Upgrade to a reliable Bradford White water heater for all the hot water your family needs. Visit bradfordwhite.com to find a professional installer near you. It's a well-known story at this point that, for many fans, No Man's Sky has gone from somewhat disappointing to resurgent success, largely through frequent free updates from developer Hello Games. It looks like those content drops aren't done yet either. Hello Games just teased another one that's coming, called Frontiers. In a Twitter post, Hello Games included Frontiers at the end of a list of every update to come to the game so far. The post is accompanied by a sizzle reel of many of the past updates, with a title card at the end for Frontiers that confirms that it too will be free for all players. This is about the smallest tease possible, so we have no idea what it's going to entail, but if it follows past named updates, it should contain a substantial amount of new content. In addition, seeing all the updates listed out in one tweet puts in context just how much work Hello Games has done on No Man's Sky since the original launch. The game was originally released way back in 2016, but it's gained a devoted following by essentially becoming a live game. It appears that the Frontiers expansion is the 5th anniversary surprise that Hello Games hinted back in May. If it arrives this year, it'll be the 4th named update to be launched in 2021. Footage for a cancelled Duke Nukem game dating back to 2008 has appeared online. Back in the late 2000s, Borderlands developer Gearbox was looking to create a game that would have been an origin story for Duke Nukem, hiring animation studio Janimation to create a mock-up trailer for Duke Nukem Begins. The project was eventually canned due to legal issues around the Duke Nukem franchise back then, and Gearbox instead went on to finish Duke Nukem Forever after developer 3D Realms had spent more than a decade working on the game. As for the prequel, the trailer uploaded by animator Gregor Punchatz shows off a game with third-person shooter gameplay, 4-player co-op, and a very 2000s haircut for Duke. Duke's arsenal consists of his usual shotgun and trademark pistol, as well as a severed arm and his freeze ray weapon, while he fights back against a horde of pig cops to the sound of guerrilla radio by Rage Against the Machine. No other professional sport is as dependent on network technology and performance. As official Overwatch Fusion sponsors, CommScope and its Ares surfboard networking solutions deliver ultra-fast and reliable connectivity, allowing super smooth gameplay for players of all skill levels. For more info, head to commscope.com. And now we want to welcome a very special guest to the show. I want to introduce you all to Alec Sohaki, who does marketing over at CommScope. Alec, how you doing, man? It's good to meet you.
Hey, it's good. Thanks for having me, guys. It's good to be on here.
All right, so I want our fans to get to know you a little bit. So we prepared some questions to try and do a little bit of a deep dive into who you are and what you're about. So let's just jump right into it. Talk to me about how video games entered into your life. How did you get started?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Video games when I was really young, actually. Like one of the one of the first memories I remember was playing on my the earlier edition of the first PlayStation. So as soon as I was kicking and was able to play with a controller, I was going with it. So video games has been there like for a while.
So the PS1 was like how you got into it. What game would you say like got your feet wet into becoming a gamer?
I always forget the name, but I think it was Gecko. If I'm correct, I think it was when you just pretty much play as the Gecko. They had like multiple different like missions. I know one was like a haunted house. One you could be like Godzilla.
You're thinking of Gex, I think.
Yeah, Gex.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the one.
Not to just pigeonhole you into just gaming, but I also heard that you got involved in some sports also. Tell us about that.
Yep, absolutely. I've been playing baseball all my life. I play multiple different sports, football, soccer, basketball, but baseball always stuck with me. It was just part of my family. So baseball was like I played since I was a kid in the backyard with my grandpa all the way up until college.
Would you say having hand-eye coordination is really important? Would you say that your preparation for video games helped out your hand-eye coordination for sports, or was it the other way around?
I think they're synonymous, actually. Definitely when I was a kid, learning hand-eye coordination for video games is like a huge thing. I think that no matter whatever game you play, hand-eye coordination is going to be there. But video games help me with quick thinking, especially in the sport of baseball. When things are happening really quickly, once the ball's in play, you have to know where you're going to go, what's happening, what's all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot of that, and reaction time. So with gaming, you need to trust your reaction time. You have to trust your quick thinking. And sometimes you can't do that if you're lagging or like your latency's high, stuff like that. So you kind of need, in gaming, at least with a good home network to make sure that your reaction time and your quick thinkings work. And Ares has a good portfolio for that.
Absolutely. And that's why we really appreciate CommScope supporting the show and you taking the time to come and tell us about your history with gaming. What would you say, if you could name 5 games off the top of your head, whether they're games that you like really impacted you in the past or games that you're really living through now? Give us a list of games that like really give us a good showing of what type of genres you're into.
Yeah, that's a good question. No matter what, Halo's always going to be the top one for me.
Let's go. Yep.
Yeah, Halo's always there. We would always play football outside my house, and as soon as we were done, go right downstairs into my basement and play Halo. So that's always something. MLB The Show was definitely something that I always stuck to. We'll tag Madden onto that because the Madden it was always fun to play with against friends. Other than that, I would have to say games like League of Legends, any MOBA games. I've been grinding my way through ranked in that, so been doing that kind of stuff. Overwatch is actually a big one for me, getting used to kind of like the quick team aspect of progression and stuff like that, and Battlefield. So those would be my top 5.
All those games you mentioned have a huge focus on teamwork. How has gaming made you a better team player in your life?
Yeah. Even through sports, through gaming, recognizing the role that you have on the team is one of the quickest way to having team success. So knowing that you're not going to be the one that's always going to in certain games be the damage output. Sometimes you're the ones that have to be either the healing or the tank. So in baseball, sometimes you're not the one that's going to make the big hit. Sometimes you're one that just has to be there to support your team, or pretty much be there in the field, make sure you're making the plays. So games has really like made me realize throughout my whole life like the importance of certain roles on teams and just teamwork in general, because you're not going to be able to do it yourself all the time.
Yep, nobody gets there alone.
Yeah.
Alec, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today, and we appreciate you and everyone at CommScope for supporting the feed and supporting the season with the Fusion. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure, and we hope the Fusion go far.
That's all I've got for this week, folks. I'm Akinola Verissimo. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Xfinity's The Feed. We will see you next time.